What's up, everybody? Welcome to the POVincent podcast here on the River's Edge Online Radio Network. I'm your host, Vincent Didiano, giving you my point of view on movies. And with me, of course, is my buddy, my pal, my comedic comrade, the human megahorn, Eric Williams. Eric, how you doing tonight?
Lovely. I'm doing fucking lovely, Vincent.
Fucking lovely.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
You gotta give it the right emphasis to it. Not regular lovely. Like fucking lovely. Have you seen the fact that my street hasn't been flooded in at least 2 weeks?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's exciting. How the fuck are you doing, Vincent?
I'm doing pretty good. And just so nobody's clueless, for anybody's first-time listener or viewer to the podcast, first off, thank you for joining us to talk about movies and whatnot. And if you don't know what Eric means, Eric lives in an area here in Pittsburgh called Millville. Great little town, but it's right next to the river, so it does flood every once in a while.
No. A lot of places here are right next to the river. We are right next to Gertie's Run. Gertie's Run runs through Millville.
Oh, that's right.
Like
I totally
back
forget
and
about
forth, like a serpent.
Yeah, I totally forget the little river thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I totally forget it's back there.
And that. Okay, so to fill you in, those of you who don't know, you're familiar, Vince. You grew up in the area.
Born and raised in Pittsburgh, yeah.
So you're familiar with the Ross Park Mall.
Totally.
So the Ross Park Mall is a lot of concrete.
Yes, it is.
It is. And when it rains, all that water falls on concrete. But water doesn't go into concrete, Vincent. It doesn't.
No,
so that water
despite the myths,
rolls downhill into Gertie's Run.
Oh, my God.
And Gertie's Run comes right into Millville, which is why half of Millville is a FEMA flood zone.
It does get pretty bad here.
That's not a joke. That's
yeah,
not,
no, I know. I'm taking you seriously.
Literally, look it up. FEMA flood zone, real thing, 100%. I'm on the edge. Like if the FEMA flood zone were a bridge, I would be like, man, I'm thinking about it. That's where my place is.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Williams, braving nature itself to bring you quality content here on the River's Edge Online Radio Network.
That's the bravest and most valiant I've ever sounded in any level, and I'm neither of those things at all.
Okay.
So thank you, Vincent.
You're welcome, buddy. You are most definitely welcome. But to go to your question, how am I doing? I'm doing pretty good. It's been a pretty good week.
Good week, you say?
Yeah, I was hanging out last night with a friend of ours, Sarah. It's her birthday today. So shout out to Sarah Kramer, friend of ours, friend of the show, and owner and operator.
I'm having a vision. It's of Sarah walking to the Double L bar with two men.
Glad you mentioned there's men with her after pronouncing her location online.
And sending her love to you.
Yes, I'm sure. Yeah, no, I was hanging out with her last night. We were drinking. I bought her a beer. Happy birthday, the whole thing. Yeah, Sarah Kramer, friend of ours and owner-operator of the River's Edge Online Radio Network. Great person.
I had a vision. I meant I saw her on the
I know what you fucking meant, yeah.
Well, maybe the audience didn't. You guys fucking know.
Yeah.
You know.
But anyway, yeah, once again, happy birthday to Sarah Kramer. Sarah, you're awesome. We love you. But it's time to get on to the show. We'll do a quick rundown of our topics before we get to them. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we got to talk about M. Night Shyamalan. That's right. We got to talk about some stuff.
Or is it going to be a twist and we're really going to talk about something else?
Well, if I told you it wouldn't be that good of a twist, now would it, Eric? I mean, I can foreshadow something. Twist. But I can't directly tell you. Other topics, we got to talk about Sony putting their eyesight on a certain princess. We got to talk about some new exciting news in the Arrowverse. We're going to get a little TV. We haven't talked some TV stuff in a while. And then finally, it's time for the movie review of Rambo Last Blood, a.k.a. Rambo 5.
Is it really The Last Blood? Do you believe that, Vincent? Do you believe it?
I believe that Sylvester Stallone is getting too old for this shit, and he realizes he can't milk his old franchises forever. Because otherwise he wouldn't have done the Creed films.
So wait, we're saying he realized that if he does The Last Blood, then he can direct Find a Young Star and reboot it with them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Talented young star and Michael B. Jordan. But anyway.
Please, can we see that Rambo reboot? I would absolutely watch that.
Yeah. Michael B. Jordan, he's not only Adonis Creed in the Creed films, he's now the new Rambo. Taught by Rambo himself, the next generation of the Ultimate Warrior. And guess what? He's going to fight the Russians again because, well, history is funny. But anyway, on to the first news topic tonight. Let's talk about M. Night Shyamalan, the man of I don't know, 8 twists? I don't know. How many movies has he done? I can't remember.
I don't know the count. Like, man.
Anyway, we'll get to the top. We'll get. I don't want to stress you out. But anyway,
No, I wasn't doing the count. It was just getting disappointed with his career.
oh, well, it's not over, which is the subject of the article. According to an article on Deadline.com, M. Night Shyamalan has 2 more thrillers in the works at Universal. Which and like it's not like really huge news. Like it's not surprising that he's getting more films, but I just like how the article plays it. Well, let's go over this. So, according to the article, and I like the way things are phrased, and so I'm being a snarky motherfucker. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. Following the success of their theatrical trinity, The Visit, Split, and Glass, Universal and filmmaker M. Night Shyamalan are back in business with 2 untitled thrillers that will be released on February 26, 2021, and February 17th, 2023. What I find funny about that information, is they call them success. Now, all those movies were financially successful. Will not deny them that. But critically, not so much. The Visit, I did not see it, but I've seen reviews for it, and it got a bit of a mixed bag. I know some people who liked it, some people who didn't. Some people like, yeah, it's a goofy movie, but they're like, I think it's M. Night knowing he's purposely doing goofy this time instead of just being, not knowing it's goofy. Split, of course, is a movie I really like. I've talked about it before. And then there was Glass, which we reviewed earlier this year, which was the final movie in the series of movies Unbreakable, Split, and finishing off with here Glass. I, of course, did not enjoy that film. I did not recommend it in my review of it. So, yeah, I find it funny how, yes, financially speaking, they were all successful. Critically, whether it's with movie critics or audiences, The Visit and Glass, it varies. But so I just find it funny the way they phrase.
Bottom line, money matters.
Yes. And the article points out that Shyamalan, here's probably a big reason why they were so financially successful, is that it says Shyamalan independently financed these past 3 films, which I was unaware of. So, yeah, that probably helped the studio out a lot. Because then they could just focus all their money into.
Had to.
Yeah, I mean, with the Visit was his comeback to show that he still could do something. It wasn't like his big comeback. It was just like, okay, it's like if you can make a good appetizer, we'll let you make a meal. I think that's what
okay. So the thing, someone else needs to write his scripts and not ever let him play with anything that has Airbender in the title.
Yeah,
but like he does fun things with movie. He can do cool, and that was the thing with The Visit. Like he made good. That whole, hey, we're filming ourselves allows you to do a low budget style that makes sense and keeps your costs low. Worked very nicely. But
yeah, he has trouble sticking that landing. And to M. Night's credit, and it is stated here in the article, a comment he made. He said, Universal has made it a mandate to release original films. They are the best at finding an audience for new stories and unexpected tones. I believe original films are crucial to the longevity of the theatrical experience. And I wholeheartedly agree with M. Night Shyamalan on that, because in the past, what do you want to say, 15, 20 years, we've been overly bombarded by remakes, reboots, sequels, prequels. Some of them yeah, we were down for it, but a lot of the stuff is just like the studio throwing it out there because they already had a built-in fan base and they already had some kind of framework to work off. So I am in total agreement with M. Night Shyamalan that, like, yeah, I know it's okay, cool. Another sequel or something of that. Like, I love these characters, but at the same time, I still want to see new stuff, and it's just become more and more problematic as the years have gone on. So in that regard, I'm with M. Night Shyamalan. Now, am I still very disappointed in how Glass turned out? Like I said, yes. The movie, I think, was had a great start. The first act was great. Second act was interesting. It's just a movie totally kind of like dive bombed in the third act for me. It was just like I totally get what the message of the movie was, what the theme was, what like the kind of like symbolism and all that kind of stuff. I totally get what he was going for in that film. It's just like the not even the twist. The twist was one thing. There was like a reveal. The reveal was the problem in that film, which was I felt which like once again I get what he was going for, but just kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. I don't know. So I mean, like I said, I was disappointed in Glass. Excuse me. Now there's also a quote in the article from Universal Pictures president Peter Kramer. M. Night Shyamalan continues to create exciting, highly original stories that keep global audiences on the edge of their seats. And once again, to a degree, yes, M. Night Shyamalan, he does, very creative stuff. It's just like usually sometimes people, like, because he's become so famous for his twists that now he has to put some kind of twist in every film. Some of them have worked out, most famously like A Sixth Sense. Why couldn't I remember it? The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable also had a good twist. And Split Split was more of a reveal, but it was still cool.
Well, The Sixth Sense, was his first film. No one was familiar. No one expected a twist.
Yeah.
And it was well executed. It was one of those where it made just enough sense to work. Unbreakable's weird because Unbreakable, didn't really have a twist. I mean, I know the twist is oh, hey, he actually does have superpowers.
Yeah. Oh, and of course, what we learn at the very end of the movie about how the train accident happened.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So that's yeah.
But that's not as much of a. It's not like, oh, hey, look, the fucking monsters are actually just villagers in costumes. Did you ever read that book called Out of Time in grade school? Fuck yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, so M. Night, here's the thing. I will not deny that guy's got talent and he's got a passion for what he does and he wants to be original. It's just sometimes he goes too far. It just, he wants it to be that big, oh, moment. And it gets too much. Lady in the Water. I don't think I know anybody who thinks Lady in the Water is a good film. I get he's trying to put a fairy tale thing into a modern setting, into a very generic place, but it just...
M. Night Shyamalan is just Michael Bay who wants to be artsy. Twists are his explosions.
Yeah. I always think of that robot...
Prove me wrong.
I always think of that Robot Chicken sketch where they did the... Remember that old one for M. Night where it's we're sitting down to... he's sitting down to dinner with his family, and then he looks out the window, it's like, they're on the moon. What a twist! And then every 5 seconds there's a twist, and the alien, he thinks, and then they spoof the aliens from what was the one with Mel Gibson? Not The Happening. I'm a fucking idiot. What is it? Signs.
Signs.
There we go. I got it.
I was about to say Signals.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the aliens are trying to get in, and the scene from Signs where he stabs them with the kitchen knife, and then they get in, and it's we just wanted to say hi, and he's like, what a twist! Robot Chicken. I loved you. But yeah, I think what happened with M. Night is that when he hit, he hit hard, and people were calling him the next Spielberg, and he was a visionary, and it was I think that shit went to his head, or at least the pressure got to him, because when you hit it that big, that quick, people put expectations on you, and then you put big expectations on yourselves. And here's I think he's a talented guy. I just think he needs I think he needs people in his life and on the set, or whether it be a producer or a writer or something, to like pull him back and be like, "Hey, I don't know about this. Like, I see where you're going with this, but anyway." Kind of.
I feel like someone needs to be like, hey, this is the hero with 1,000 faces. You need to follow at least like 3 of the things it says. Like, yeah, you can be creative, but you need to follow some degree of plot structure that like just makes sense.
Yeah. But anyway, we shall move beyond M. Night Shyamalan, because we got something. We got something that's just some news that's pissing me the fuck off, because it's
pissing me the fuck off!
Ladies and gentlemen, we got to talk about Sony and The Princess Bride.
Blah.
Yeah, this has been making its rounds on the internet. The information I'm getting is from an article on comicbook.com, where Sony CEO Tony Vinciquerra, who reveals the interest from unnamed parties in The Princess Bride. He says, "We have so many people coming to us saying, we want to remake this show or that show, and very famous people whose names I won't use, but they want to redo The Princess Bride." And he's like, goes on about other stuff about people come to Sony for like, I'm like, hold the hell up. Let's just pull this back a minute here. All right. The Princess Bride is one of those movies that is, so ingrained into pop culture and is so like beloved by many people.
The Princess Bride is to fantasy what The Matrix is to sci-fi.
Oh, that's an interesting comparison.
They are revolutionary. They stand alone upon themselves in the genre. Like, they are magic in a bottle.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just that you had a great cast, all great, memorable characters, pretty much everyone, and
Peter Falk and Fred Savage,
yeah,
doing because it's a framed story. When you have a story within a story, like, they're just the fucking frame, man. They're a beautiful frame.
Yeah. I mean, you got Andre the Giant, who I think nobody will deny Andre the Giant isn't a good actor, but they made him so charming and lovable in that film, the big lovable giant, and it's got, the movie's got
Mandy Paquin.
Yeah.
Billy Crystal and his
shit, yeah, what's her name?
His wife.
I don't know, but she's cool. She's great.
Yeah, like very, very talented comedian. Of course, Carrie Elwes.
Yeah.
Robin Wright Penn.
Yeah. Oh, just Robin Wright now. She got divorced from.
My bad.
No, it's okay. She's not watching.
We have
I know.
one of the protagonists of. That's how tight you are with Robin Wright. You know she's not watching. You're like you know she's going out bowling at the league. Anyways, Christopher Sarandon. Who is one of the protagonists in the original Child's Play, the Christopher Sarandon.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
And then Christopher Guest plays the Six-Fingered Man.
Yeah, all those characters you remember, you all know what their personality is, you know what their motives are, their shtick. Even like the guy in the dungeons, that you'll never make it out. You're never gonna make it out of here. Like, even he's got a little.
The short person, inconceivable.
Yeah, inconceivable. Yeah, the line. It's one of those movies that has like multiple iconic lines. Inconceivable. My name is Indigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Like, it's got all those.
That movie is as quotable as fucking Anchorman.
Yeah, it's just like I said. Like, look, we're just getting giddy. We're literally getting giddy talking about it, right?
I'm not even warmed up yet. This is just go pigs. Like,
yeah, it really is just one of those movies that it is like, don't touch it. Now the article doesn't seem to think that Tony.
Perfect. You can't improve. You can't.
No. And what I see in the article, it doesn't seem like Sony has concrete plans to do it. They've just mentioned that people have mentioned that they want to, but they won't say who. So, and it could be saying, part of me feels like, excuse me, that the, what's his, what was it called? Tony Vinciquerra, the CEO, part of me feels like he's just throwing it out there, just kind of mentioning it in this interview, just to see how people react. Well, Tony, people are not reacting fondly, okay? It's one of those movies like you don't like another movie you never touch. Back to the Future. Never fucking touch that. Thankfully, because of the way the rights work out with that thing, Robert Zemeckis, who was the director of the films, he has control of it, and he says as long as he's, I'm sure I've mentioned this many times on the show, he says as long as he's alive, that movie will never get remade. So we don't got to worry about Back to the Future. But it's the same kind of idea. You just don't remake back. There's certain movies that have been ingrained in pop culture that just got it so right. And it's the movie's got everything. Princess Bride. It's got romance, it's got action, adventure, fantasy, drama, comedy. It's a multi-genre type of movie.
And it has ROUSs?
Yeah, yeah, rats of unusual size.
Rodents.
Yes. Rodents. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me. It's just, there's a little something for everybody in it.
It's magic.
Yeah.
That's what, no, I see how your immediate response was like, Matrix and Princess Bride, that's a weird comparison. And it is on like an external level, but again, movies that were just magic, that were like perfectly executed in the time that they were made, in the mood that they were made, like just magic, impossible to replicate.
Yeah. No, you just kind of like, it's like another God, like what other movies would would piss you off if they remade it that haven't already been remade? Because you got to like they've made how many mummy movies over the years, or stuff like that. Like I think one would, I think it just has all to do with like the main actor. Another one that just came to mind, I think would wreck people, would be if they remade Mrs. Doubtfire, because that's like a very Robin Williams film. They were going to do a sequel. For years they were trying to get a sequel, but Robin Williams passed away, so that died with him. I think that'd be another movie, especially just because, with Robin Williams passing and even people reacting poorly to the genie in the new Aladdin film. I think a lot of people would also
Beverly Hills Cop. The only way it could happen is if Donald Glover wanted to do it, and Eddie Murphy gave him his blessing.
You know what, man? I think you're onto something. I was trying to think.
That's it. Otherwise, you're not allowed.
Now I'm just
because that's vintage fucking Eddie Murphy.
Now, now I'm just picturing a scene in the movie where it's right, Donald Glover's the new Axel Fox was his name, right?
Axel Foley.
I'm thinking Axel Fox because of the third movie when he got the mascot named after him. That's what I'm thinking.
Because Axel Foley is actually the name of the fucking tune from that.
Yeah. The mascot at the end of Beverly Hills Cop 3.
No. I mean the song that gets played throughout is named Axel Foley.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, but I'm picturing like Donald Glover with like an Eddie Murphy like 80s mustache, and like there's a scene in the movie where he's getting like he gets drunk with the other guys and he just does like an Eddie Murphy laugh as like a reference. I don't think either one of us did a very good.
I think I did it better.
You did? Who? You?
Yeah.
I think I got it. Let us know down in the comments.
You're doing it from, I think you're doing it from Coming to America.
Maybe.
I'm doing, okay, because it's a, well, I don't quite hit it, but I think the cadence is different in the two films.
Okay, all right. Let us know down in the comments. So who had the better Eddie laugh? Was it me or Eric? But yeah, so it's I gotta talk to Sony for a minute. Hey Sony, it's Vincent. You and I haven't always had the best of rapport in the past. But I backed you on the whole Disney Spider-Man thing. Okay, I backed you on that. I respect the decision you made in that. All right, because I get it. Because if everything we've heard was true, Disney gave you a bullshit new deal. Bullshit. However, if you do this Princess Bride shit, I'm coming for you, motherfuckers. Okay, don't do this. And you gained some respect from me, even though
he's Italian. So
I know. You don't think I can't get to you? I'm Italian. You don't think I have a relative working in your company right now that I can call and they can fuck shit up? All right, we're everywhere, man. We're like Dog the Bounty Hunter's family. Every episode, you find out he's got a new daughter or son. Okay.
They're like tomatoes. They work their way into everything.
Yeah, tomatoes are awesome.
Goddamn tomatoes.
Oh man.
But, hey, like, hey, what you said to Sony? Yes, like they've pissed us off over the years with some things, but like the Princess Bride holds a special. It's almost like the Muppets or some shit, like one of those.
Yeah, like if somebody made something called like the Ventriloquettes or something, and it's just a total Muppets knockoff, and they're like, well, it seems a lot like the Muppets or something. It's like, no. The only thing that's like okay
The
to
Muppets.
do, the Muppets. Oh, wasn't that the name of like the evil Muppets in the Muppets? The one with Jason Segel in it, that Muppet, the one with him and I think.
I haven't actually.
Oh no, it was
that one.
it was the Muppets. It was like the one. The villain bought the Muppet studio and therefore had the licensing rights to the Muppets names.
Okay.
And he's like, these are the Muppets. You know, they're cynical and hard edged. They're like,
They're evil.
yeah.
I don't like them.
I really love that film, the Muppets movie, the one with Jason Segel and Amy Adams. It's really good. The follow-up movie, Muppets Most Wanted.
With Tina Fey.
Yeah, I think Tina Fey. Yeah, she was in that. She played like the Russian prison guard or prison warden. But yeah, not as good. It was it wasn't horrible. But the Muppets, the one with Jason Segel, which would happen because of him. He wanted to make that movie after doing Forgetting Sarah Marshall, because the movie ends with him doing that puppet musical.
He was in love with Muppets for years. First of all, that puppet musical is the best fucking part of that entire goddamn movie. And that's over Kristen Bell, and she's an angel. But that 10 minutes, I wanted to be like the majority of the film. That was my issue with Forgetting Sarah Marshall. He loves puppets. He was thrilled when he got the Muppet Project, and I don't
I'm sure he was.
why he wasn't involved with further projects or what he's really done since then. Where are you, Jason Segel? We miss you. I miss you.
He's waiting on that How I Met Your Mother reunion movie or something. I don't know. But yeah, no, I really love that Muppet movie. It was a great reintroduction to the Muppets, because after that they did what? They did the Muppets Most Wanted, and then they had that short-lived TV show on like NBC or something where it was like the Muppets but in the style of like The Office or Modern Family. It was like something like that.
No, it was Sheena and I watched that. I enjoyed it. Like it was a reality show. It was okay, so the whole premise is basically that the Muppets have a Tonight Show.
Okay.
Like, but we're like following them Office style.
That's what I think. Yeah, I think. It wasn't. Yeah, The Office style or Parks and Rec didn't do that same thing. No.
Parks and Recs did.
Oh, okay. I don't watch a lot of network television. I'm sorry.
No, Parks and Recs did the exact same thing The Office did, basically, and the Muppet Show was doing a very similar thing. In fact, it was interesting because Kermit and Miss Piggy broke up.
What?
Yes.
What? That's
And
never happened
Kermit
before.
was
How could they
dating
break with
another
continuity?
Pig, like, oh, it was wild, man. It was a wild world.
You see, the second I saw a preview for that show, I was like, this is going to bomb hard. Because whoever's doing the show in this style doesn't understand how the Muppets work. You can't do a Muppets reality show because they break the fourth wall constantly. They're already like fucking, there's a show. They just don't get Muppets, which was the whole point of the Muppets, was to reestablish like what was special and awesome about the Muppets, and then they do a show like that. So whatever. Okay. Well, we'll stop talking about stuff.
There's a Muppets comedy special. There were like a number of comedians. I'm trying to remember, like it was like comedians and Muppets. I think Jim Brewer might have been like the famous guy on it. It was on Hulu.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was back when it was weird. Like, of course, Fozzie Bear does the set.
Yeah. I think the only thing they've done recently was like, not even the Sesame Street game. They're in a Farmers Insurance commercial. And it's pretty fun. It's just fun to see those guys pop up. Like Bert and Ernie show up. Ernie's wearing the same outfit that J.K. Simmons is wearing in those Farmers commercials. So he's like kind of kissing his ass. And then Cookie Monster shows up. It's like, so you have insurance for Cookie Jar? And then Grover comes flying in, Super Grover, and crashes.
Have I told you that I'm a little nervous about the Sesame Street moving to HBO?
What? Wait, that's happening?
Oh, Vince, you may run a movie and TV podcast, but sometimes you hide from the truth, friend. That happened like 6 to 18 months ago.
Oh, okay. I feel like I did hear about it, but I just like...
Sesame Street has moved to HBO, and I'm afraid that it's going to get too hard now that it's on HBO. Like, what if they let other writers for the other programs get out? It's just going to get dark real quick, man.
Oscar's doing lines of heroin in his trash can.
Oscar, fuck that. Kermit the Frog will be doing lines of heroin.
They're like, Kermit, you haven't visited Sesame Street in years. How you doing? Piggy left me again. What the fuck is up every time, man? I just try, and her fat belly ass is just always asking for more. I don't know what to do. I don't even know.
Oscar's like, I see a customer.
All right. Well, I guess we should move on to our next topic. We're not even talking about the Princess Bride anymore.
You know, we whatever.
Yeah, whatever. But anyway, yeah. So we're going from the possible bad news that the Princess Bride is getting remade, or at least like they're kind of considering it, I'll say, to some happier news, some television-based news. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Welling is returning as Superman for the upcoming Arrowverse big event crossover, Crisis on Infinite Earths. We've talked about this a few times on the show. I am a fan of the Arrowverse shows, I watch them. Some of them I'm probably not going to be watching for much longer, but the big event, the big massive crossover event, Crisis on Infinite Earths, based on the comic book crossover event of the same name from the 80s, in which a villain so powerful by the name of the Anti-Monitor is really wiping out entire universes across the DC multiverse. And his counterpart, the Monitor, is now gathering superheroes from various universes to counter his destructive evil. And this is something that in the show has been hinted at since season 1 of The Flash, starring Grant Gustin as the title character, and they're finally doing it. They announced it last year at the end of last year's crossover event, Elseworlds, and it's been coming. We've talked about it a few times on the show, talking about some of the actors that are getting to return as their former characters. For instance, Brandon Routh, who currently plays Ray Palmer, the Atom, on Legends of Tomorrow, is returning as his version of Superman from the Superman Returns movies. Movie.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Other people who are going to be joining in this crossover are Kevin Conroy, who we most famously known as the voice of Batman from Batman the animated series, Justice League Unlimited, various straight-to-DVD DC animated movies, and as well as many Batman video games, mostly the Arkham games. He will be in the crossover as Batman. He will be a live-action Batman. Now, will he be in the suit? Will he be fighting? I think they're probably going to more play as like he's an older Batman or something. Because Kevin Conroy, he's not a young buck anymore. Also joining the big crossover event is Burt Ward, who probably most people will know. I mean, the really only big role he ever had was he played Robin in the 60s live-action Batman series alongside Adam West. Rest in peace. Yeah, and this is the big event because it's a crossover between Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, and the new upcoming Batwoman series. And this is it. It's going to be a big 5-night event. Every night it's going to be for a different show. It's going to be huge. We're going to have multiple heroes, multiple versions of themselves. And now, like I said, we're getting Tom Welling back. This is very exciting because a lot of people have been hoping and begging that they were going to get some of the people from the Smallville TV series to be in this event. And it's probably a lot of credit for the Arrowverse starting does come from Smallville. And it is mentioned in this article on Collider.com, where Arrow co-creator and executive producer Mark Guggenheim told Deadline, "For 8 years, Arrow has stood on the shoulders of Smallville. Simply put, there would be no Arrow and no Arrowverse without it. So when we first started talking about Crisis on Infinite Earths, our first, second, and third priorities were getting Tom to reprise his iconic role as Clark Kent. To say that we're thrilled would be a Superman-sized understatement. And I gotta admit, I'm really excited about this too, and I'm also excited that it is confirmed. Unlike, it was like, I want to say a month and a half to 2 months ago when there was a rumor that Michael Rosenbaum would be reprising his role as Lex Luthor, but of course that turned out to be a falsehood confirmed by Michael Rosenbaum himself.
You know who's not gonna be in this?
Who, Eric?
The blonde that was in Smallville.
Oh yeah. I was totally thinking about it when I was talking about it, but I wasn't gonna say it. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, honestly, I don't really feel like getting into it. We'll get into it. Hold on.
She's
Let me look.
in prison.
Yeah, the actress who played Chloe, if you don't know, it turned out she's not a good person.
That's yes.
I don't know.
Let's can we roughly keep it at that? Like,
Yeah,
you can look it up on the internet.
I will upgrade that statement to she is a massive, undeniable, horrible bitch. Yeah, so we're not going to get into it.
I generally don't approve of the usage of that word, but in this connotation, it's appropriate.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're going to fight me on that one, I don't know. Yeah.
No,
Yeah. So, yeah. So she's not coming back, because if she did, I'd be like, wow, they really want this thing to fail. But I'm really, like I said, I'm really excited for this, because this is, the CW superhero shows are a connected universe, with the exception of Supergirl, because she exists on Earth 38. They're doing the whole multiverse thing. But they've explored that on The Flash starting in season 2, where they had characters from another universe. We've met such characters from other universes, like, once again, as Supergirl. We've met Jesse Quick, another speedster like The Flash. We've also met multiple versions of Harrison Wells, played by Tom Cavanaugh, who's done a great job, even though some versions are more popular than others. He shows his range as an actor, that he brings such distinction to each character.
he's the best part of the show, hands down.
Oh, yeah. In fact, in next season of The Flash, he will be playing Pariah, the character from the Infinite Earths crossover comics, who's a guy who basically is warning the heroes of the main universe that the threat is imminent. He's a character that kind of... Is it shaking in here? Did you feel it?
It feels like an earthquake, yeah.
Okay. Well, it stopped, so I guess we're fucked. I almost said we're fucked, but no, we're fine. It was shaking in here I think we just got hit by a hard wind or something.
That was.
Oh, you know what it is? I bet you there was some big-ass truck going down the street, because literally, like, in the studio, the street's on the other side of this wall, so there's probably some big, like, 18-wheeler or some shit coming down the road.
I don't know, but I'm going to take a piss.
No, you're not.
Okay, you're right, I'm not.
Okay, yeah. We're gonna...
I got you good, though. But yeah, you're right, there's literally a street behind us.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, I'm excited for this crossover event, because it is the Arrowverse's version of Infinity War / Endgame. This is it. This is the big deal. This is the big one.
This is permanence comes from this.
Yeah. A lot of people are asking questions, like, for instance, is, like I said, since season 1 of The Flash, it's been hinted that the crisis was coming. One of the things that has been hinted from a newspaper clip from the future is that the Flash would disappear in the crisis event. This was more pressed forward in the last season of The Flash, when we met the Flash's daughter from the future, who said that, he disappeared, when she was just a baby in the big crisis event. So a lot of people are like, are they really going to have the Flash disappear? Because in the comic book, he sacrificed himself to help the other heroes save the universe. Though, of course, it was revealed later that what actually happened was that he was just trapped inside the Speed Force for many years. But for 20 years, Barry Allen was dead in the comics. Other people are asking, like, will Supergirl die? Supergirl dies in the comic fighting the Anti-Monitor. Now, I highly doubt that one will happen, since Melissa Benoist is the main, does play Supergirl. She's the main character on her show, and that show just won a Saturn Award for Best TV Superhero Show. Which
I don't think they're canon.
Yeah. What I think will happen, this is one of my ideas, I think they will kill Barry Allen the Flash, but they're not going to kill our Barry, the main Barry. Because
Ooh, that sounds like a very Flash thing to do.
yeah, because what happened was in the last crossover event, Elseworlds, we were introduced to the previous TV Barry Allen, the Flash. John Wesley Shipp, who on the current Flash show played Henry Allen, the Flash's father, and later Jay Garrick, the Flash of Earth 2, I believe that's his universe. In the Elseworlds column, he returned to the Elseworlds, but as a different version of Flash, as his live-action Flash from the 90s live-action TV show, which is why they cast him as Barry's dad, and even recreated his costume from the old show, and it looked great, and he looked great in it. So I think that's what's going to happen. They're either going to have him, or they're going to have John Wesley, his Barry Allen, or his Jay Garrick Flash going to be the Flash to sacrifice himself. That's what I feel like is going to happen.
Makes sense.
As for Supergirl, a lot of people are feeling like what they're really going to do is excuse me. Some people theorize they might have Tyler Hoechlin, who is the main Superman of the Arrowverse. They're going to have him sacrifice himself or die fighting the Anti-Monitor instead of Supergirl. Some people feel that, and honestly,
Makes sense.
Yeah, and honestly, I wouldn't put it past for a couple of reasons. One, in the new season Supergirl coming up, she's getting a new outfit that takes some design ideas from Superman's current outfit in the show. And the fact that, I don't know, just like, and I've talked about this on the show before, I feel like Tyler Hoechlin, I think performance-wise, I think he's a good Superman, a good Clark Kent. But I think they've misused Superman to prop up Supergirl a little too much at times, which doesn't make sense to me. She's already the star of her show. Like, I don't know, whatever. So I wouldn't put it past them just because they feel like they don't like I get it. Superman, he doesn't need to be in the show, but I think they just mistreated Superman. And maybe I'm fanboying. Maybe I am. But, we'll see. I'm just really interested to see how they're going to handle it, how they're going to represent the Anti-Monitor, because the Monitor showed up in the Elseworlds crossover. Whether they're just going to have that actor play the Anti-Monitor, but with like a different makeup job, or they're going to go full from the comics where he's like this gigantic towering creature in like galactic armor, kind of like almost a Galactus type, but instead of just eating planets, he like just wipes out universes. There's so much to break down. How Batwoman's going to fit into this, considering she's going to be the freshest hero in the Arrowverse. Her new season's starting in October.
Shit.
Yeah, all the show.
Was there already been a season?
No. Batwoman.
So the debut of the Batwoman.
Yeah, is
coming.
Yeah.
As Crisis ends.
No. Well, they first introduced Batwoman last year in the Elseworlds crossover to introduce the characters, to just put her out there. Her show, the first season, is starting this October, along with all the other shows that most of the shows are returning October. I think Legends is coming back at the beginning of November. But the Elseworlds crossover, from what we
debut for a lot of shows.
Yeah. From what we understand, from what we've seen in the trailer for the Batwoman show, the early part of the season will probably take place right before the Elseworlds event, because we see that she's going through the process of like taking Batman's old suit and converting it into her new suit. So when we see her in Elseworlds, that's probably actually halfway through her season or something like that, I'm guessing. But yeah, so really excited. But anyway, Crisis on Infinite Earths, I'm excited for it, even if some of the shows I feel like have dipped in quality. I'm really interested to see how the Green Arrow, how his story is going to end, because this is also his last season of his show coming up. And apparently the Monitor is using him to recruit the massive team of heroes to fight the Anti-Monitor. That's what his last season is going to be a lot about. So, I'm excited how things are going. I'm, of course, excited for Tom Welling to return as a Superman, because in Smallville, he only became Superman in the last episode. He saved people, he used the superpowers, he fought supervillains, but, putting on the suit, the cape, the whole deal, he only became Superman in the last episode.
Actualizing.
Yeah, so we never really got to see him go what I would call full, actualize is a good term, Superman. So I'm excited. But enough of that. We got to get on to this week's movie review. Let's talk about Rambo: Last Blood.
I kind of like what they did with the title, kinda.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, because the first movie wasn't called Rambo; it was just called Last Blood, named after the book.
No, it wasn't.
What? What did I say wrong?
You just said the first book was called Last Blood.
What was it called? Did I fuck it up?
Yeah.
What's it called?
First Blood.
First Blood. Damn it! Thank you for catching me there.
I'm sorry. You were looking at me like I was crazy, and I was like, no, dude.
No. You got me. Thank you. You got me. There you go. You got a gold star. Anyway.
Aw,
So
that's special. I'm gonna graduate kindergarten in this.
Yeah. The first Rambo movie was called First Blood. There we go. I did it. Second movie was called.
We both have gold stars now.
Yeah. Second movie was called Rambo First Blood Part 2. The third movie was simply called Rambo 3. The fourth movie was just called Rambo, which I didn't see the fourth movie. Going to admit that right here and now.
It's wild.
I hear it goes like bloodier and gorier than the
A
previous.
man gets cut in half. Like not like, oh hey, you know what happened behind, and you just see like, no, like you see someone cut a man in half.
Oh man! But anyway, Sylvester Stallone returns as John Rambo, one of his most famous characters he's ever played, right up there with Rocky. John Rambo being, one of the most famous action heroes of all time. The Vietnam vet, former Green Beret, who suffers from PTSD and cannot just let go of his soldier/warrior ways. In this film, we find out that Rambo has finally seemed to find some sense of, I won't say peace, but what's the word I'm looking for here? Not sustainability.
Tranquility?
Not tranquility. He's found stability. He's found some kind of stability. He still has PTSD. He still has flashbacks to the war and the stuff that's happened to him. But he's now living with the final members of his family, one being his young niece who just graduated from high school. The plot of the movie is the niece is captured by some evil people, and Rambo has to go and save her. But, they retaliate, and Rambo has to take on, as he does, basically a small army all by himself. So let's talk about the story a little bit here for a minute. The plot is kind of like what we've seen from past Rambo films. Somebody's in danger. Rambo has to save them, as I just said, and get them out of the shit, and at the same time find entire armor. We've seen this in Rambo 2. I know I just called Rambo 2. We're just calling Rambo 2 to keep things simple because they go back and forth on the title of these damn films. Rambo 2, we see he's got to find and rescue some other Vietnam vets that have been in captivity for many, many years. In the third film, he's got to save Colonel Trapman, his former commander. In Rambo, the fourth film, like I said, I didn't see it, but I know it's like some... he has to save some people who went too deep into some jungle and they were captured by a paramilitary group of some kind or, terrorists or whatever. And in this one, it's his niece. So this adds a little different because...
it's family now.
Yeah, because before that, Colonel Trapman was the closest thing he had to family. It's mentioned in the film. Trapman is all he really has. The guy that turned him into the, merciless war machine that he was, and that's the closest thing he has to family. Now we got his niece, and we find in the film, he seems to be doing relatively okay. He's still Rambo, like they have a house, there's a ranch, and he, takes care of the horses, stuff like that. But he doesn't live in the ranch house. He literally builds like an underground room for himself in a series of tunnels, and he just lives down there. So it's like, yeah, he's still Rambo. He's not comfortable living in a house. He can't do that. He's got to be like down in the dirt and all that stuff. So that's nice. That makes sense for his character. We do see multiple times in the film that he does care a lot for his niece. She's basically the reason why he came home, because her father ran out on her years ago, and he's basically become the substitute father, and he's trying to take care of her because this is all he's got, his niece. And
being a good dude.
Yeah, there's this one character in the film where I was confused as to how she was related to Rambo and his niece. His niece played by, just give her credit, Yvette Monreal. The niece's name is Gabrielle. And there's this one woman who I can't tell what her relationship is. She's like another member of the like an aunt or a nana. I was kind of confused as to what her position in their family was. That kind of threw me. But to go back to that, story-wise, we've seen this in the Rambo franchise. Like I said, a lot of the movies have already done it. Somebody gets kidnapped or trapped or they're being tortured and stuff like that, and Rambo's got to go in, get him out, and then the movie ends with him fighting. It's the Rambo formula. which for some people might get a little tiring. I know, like, it's Rambo. The first movie, that's the one thing about the Rambo franchise. The first movie is very different from the other films because it's just him. He's a Vietnam vet, PTSD, and he's just kind of wandering America looking for old army buddies of his that he can't find because either they died in the war or or they've died after the war, and he's just kind of by himself. He's got nobody, and the small town sheriff pushes his buttons too much. And next thing you know, he's surviving. He's running away from them at first. He sets up the traps and stuff. But it's not an action film. It really didn't become an action franchise till the second movie. Second movie, they went action. And the third movie, they went just action. They went double action. They were just like fighting, he literally fights an entire army with tanks and shit in the third movie. Aided by Afghanistan freedom fighters in the third film, which and at the end of the movie they thank the brave people of Afghanistan, and I'm sure that did not age well for certain people. That shout out at the end of the film. But yeah, so this movie,
that's amazing.
What's bothering me about the story is, once again, familiar Rambo style formula, but with a introduction of his niece, who's like basically a daughter to him. It's got kind of a Taken vibe going on, where like I feel like this is just like they took Rambo and mixed in some Taken, maybe a little Man on Fire. The Denzel. I know Denzel. There was one before the Denzel Washington movie, but I'm most familiar with the Denzel Washington version.
Wait, there was one before the Denzel Washington version?
Yeah. There was one. It was one of those. I didn't realize about it until I looked into it. Yeah,
Fire's a remake.
Yeah. The guy, the Denzel Washington character was played by the actor who played Styx on Daredevil. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Oh.
That guy. I forget what his name is. He's a good actor, but I forget. Yeah, apparently he was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so basically, his niece / daughter is captured by some Mexican sex slave traders. So once again, that feels a lot like Taken, because in Taken, his daughter is being sold as a sex slave. So it feels a lot like that. And I get it. That's a real thing that's down there. And one thing that it was starting to I got about like halfway through the movie, halfway or 2/3 of the movie, it hit me. It was like, this is the last Rambo movie, or supposedly it's supposed to be the last one. I really hope it is. Not because I hate the Rambo franchise. I'm just saying, it's like, once again, Sylvester Stallone, he's getting too old for this, and it's like, this is supposed to, Rambo's last stand. But in the movies, things, escalated, right? In the first one, he's just fighting some Hicktown sheriffs, right? Second movie, he's fighting a combination of Russians and former Viet Cong or something like that. In the third movie, he's literally fighting a fully stocked tanks, helicopters, the whole thing, Russian army, right? Because it was the 80s. We were always fighting the Russians in action movies and spy films. It was the 80s. And
we can do it again.
Yeah. In the fourth one, like I said, I haven't seen the fourth one, but I know they fought some kind of paramilitary group. And in this one, he's fighting Mexican slave cartel people, which, don't get me wrong, they're scary motherfuckers. They're well loaded. They got their weapons. They'll kill people if you cross them. But they're just not on the same level as the Russian army. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like for Rambo's last going out, if you can't do a equally big antagonist force, you should do something more personal.
You're saying the Mexican cartel isn't as scary as the Russian army?
They're scary, but they're not as powerful. They're not as devastating. That's where I'm going. Well, again, if anybody from the Mexican cartel is listening, I'll fucking piss my pants right now if it makes you guys feel better. Eric will do it too. Eric, now, go. No, I'm just kidding. Well, just like for Rambo's last...
said just kidding, too late.
Oh, yeah. All right. I'll get the wipes.
Anyway.
Anyway.
You were saying.
Yeah. It just feels like they're not up to that level. Now, in the movie, in the trailer, we see like the big fight is back at Rambo's ranch. He sets up his traps, explosions, walls of fire, makeshift punji sticks, except they're made of like metal or whatever. And he's got all this stuff, set up traps, and that's one thing when you're watching the movie, you're just kind of waiting for this big final battle scene to happen. And I think that's a flaw of the trailer, just kind of giving away what the big final thing is. It would have been interesting if just like, oh, that happened in the middle of the movie, and the actual big thing is like towards the end, like they kept the secret. But no, you're just kind of waiting for that thing to happen, and the movie's not that long. It's only like an hour and a half long, maybe a little bit longer than that. So it's not a long movie, which is fine, like an hour and a half movie, not everything's got to be 2 hours, But just the whole time, I'm just kind of waiting for that to happen. There's only one thing in the movie that was like in question for me as to which way it was going to go, and I can't go into detail without spoiling. But there was one thing I was like, okay, are they gonna go this way or that way? Yeah, the director of the film is Adrian Grunberg, who the only other film I see that he's directed is Get the Gringo, which was a Mel Gibson film from 2012. I haven't seen it. Have you seen it?
It was on Netflix. Yeah, it was a good watch-at-home action flick. American robbing a bank, and as they're getting away, they go over the border and crash, so he ends up in Mexican prison, dealing with Mexican prison shit and having money that he's trying to retrieve. And
okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Pretty good, okay, yeah. Because he seems mostly to be, according to his IMDb page, a second unit director or assistant director. He's worked on shows such as Narcos. He worked on he worked on the Jack Reacher movie.
Narcos is a big deal.
Yeah,
Jack Reacher movies are impressively executed.
Yeah, no, so he's worked on some big name stuff here. He's been in this, and he's been a working man for many years and years. He's also done So it's not incompetently directed. So there's nothing that really was like, nothing ever really got too exciting. They definitely go for, I'm guessing they carry this over from the last Rambo film, some of the gore factor, because when the final big battle happens, some guys are just like they just get lots of blood. Some callbacks to the first movie. There's definitely a guy who a thing swings out and stabs him with 4 spikes. So that's a callback to the first film when the guy got the wood spikes in him. Except for, Rambo's just killing motherfuckers left and right, as Rambo does, these guys, once again, so, but I don't know, nothing ever got really exciting for me. I will say that the people in the theater I was with were cheering a little bit when all this bloody action was happening. Then again, most of the people who were cheering were the same assholes who were talking during the whole fucking film. So I have no respect for them or their quality or taste. So I hate that. I even looked at the one guy and because he kept on going yeah, break her fucking wrist, or yeah, I'm gonna kill those motherfuckers. And I was like, hey man, can you quiet down? And he looked at me like I was fucking insane for asking him not to shout during the film. Sorry, that was a little rant. So anyway, do I recommend Rambo Last Blood or do I not recommend it? Yeah, I'm not going to recommend it. I'm sorry. For the last movie in the Rambo franchise, it just doesn't reach that level that you would want. This is Rambo, one of the most famous action movie characters of all time, one of the most famous action hero characters of all time, one of Sylvester Stallone's most famous characters. And honestly, the movie is not horrible, but just comes up so short. It's just not the final, fireworks grand finale, last hurrah, last blazing glory of Rambo that you kind of want. It feels at most times like a B movie, and that's not what I want from the last Rambo movie. I want an A movie action film. So yeah, I'm not going to give Rambo a recommendation. Sorry, Sylvester Stallone.
Sorry, Stallone. Vince says no.
Yeah, but anyway,
how would Rocky say it?
Yeah. Yo, Adrian, I just saw this film. This guy looks just like me. But he's like Mexican or something.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, surprise. Apparently Rambo's Mexican. I never knew what he was. So maybe they said in the first one when I missed it. I don't know. But anyway, before we leave out the show, Eric, is there anything you want to plug? You got any things coming up you need to plug or whatever?
October 5th, I will be hosting the comedy stage at Allfest, taking place in Millville at Mr. Smalls.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard from Eric Williams. He wants some good quality comedy. Him and a lot of local comedians will be there. It should be a good time. Me, I currently don't have... I might have something coming up, but I haven't got it confirmed yet. I will mention in the next episode once I'll mention it once I get it confirmed. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is for the POVincent podcast this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Please tune in next week and stay tuned for the following days, as I will be doing a mini episode where I will do a review of the new Brad Pitt film, Ad Astra. But until then, we'll guys see you next week. Thank you for viewing things from my perspective. Take it easy.